Right, you know, well, we used to cross paths in Washington DC when we were both doing TBI when I was Washington. So we'd see each other about that program all the time. And
It's the development potential is very exciting, I think. But then the other piece of it is establish rates that are sustainable for facilities like ours.
I think so. I saw somebody messing with it, so I'm assuming they have changed it. Yeah, that would help.
I'll go retire real quick.
Fund your, yes.
I honestly don't know. I assume she's either on vacation or intentionally doing some response she got to. I assume she was actually on for next.
Alrighty.
And frankly, I think in terms of discussion,
Well, he's the appropriate one to do it, that's fine. It's just, I like to see her presence here.
Backward, forward, and she's all that just with her head. Wow. Also,
I take it he's teaching.
That's a joystick in the back. I keep trainer. And I can drive her from the back. I like to be right there by the side. So it's two.
Where there's enough cell.
She's not exceptional. Usually, he goes to okay, we can see this. But we see this one, this, they just
But then something's missing from the documentation.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
the case manager stuff. How did this one?
Exactly. Exactly.
We start doing
And
that.
that's one of the
Hi, everybody. My name is Janet, and we'll get started. We're a small but choice group of people this afternoon, and we're very happy you chose to come. And so I will just hope you can hear me. I don't have much to say, so you're lucky. It's my pleasure to tell you who's here this afternoon, because looking at the long-range plan for where people can stay as they live with brain injury and what they need in terms of support is very important. And we hope that this will get people thinking about that rather than always having to do things in crisis mode, but to do some thoughtful planning. So this afternoon, The first speaker will be Betsy Jansen. The second speaker will be Ryan Knudsen. And last but not least, Jan Navarre. And so with that, I will let them get busy.
All right. Well, I thought I was speaking second, so I'm all surprised to understand that I'm the first one. And I would feel better standing because then I can see the slides that you're seeing. So I hope that works. And can you hear me in the back? So I don't need a mic.
Louder, please.
Yeah, I know you. But let me know if you can't hear me. But as Janet Mott said, my name is Betsy Jansen. I'm a program manager with Home and Community Services. My unit that I work with is the Resource Support and Development Team, and I'm one of 6 people around the state, and my service or catchment area is Seattle, King County. But over the last 6 or 7 years, I've been doing more and more work with individuals with brain injuries because what I'm seeing are gaps or needs. And that's what the resource developers do. We, by nature of our job, is look at what are the needs of our clients that we serve, as well as our case managers, the social workers that are doing the work. They're trying to find resources to help support their clients. If they're coming up with a resource gap or a need, they tend to come to us and tell us about it. So I work in Seattle and King County, but I'm a headquarters position out of Lacey. So I have my foot in the local office culture and needs, but I also have another foot at headquarters, so I'm hearing what's going on there. And I can represent what our needs are to headquarters and hopefully move those resource needs up the channel. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I was a supervisor of a nursing home unit. So my staff were going into nursing homes and assessing folks for relocation. Where would you like to live? What services do you need? So we can help them move out of that institutional setting. And there was one gentleman that came to my attention that he was living in a nursing home because of his medical needs and his personal care needs. But he was also able to go home on weekends because his mom worked during the week. She was probably well into her 60s at that point, so she wasn't like a young mom. But anyway, this young man was able to go home on weekends and on holidays and summer vacations and things like that because his mom was there and could care for him. Well, our rules are that you can only have 18 days of social leave if you live in a nursing home. If you're staying there, you can only leave 18 days out of the year to go do other things. And so this young man's experience was an exception to the rule. And so my social worker in my unit came to me and said, this family wants more than 18 days. So can we write an exception for that? And I said, yes, we absolutely can. And it turned out that it was almost 3 months worth of leave in a year that this man was able to get to be able to go home, to be with his family, because they were able to support him. So it was an example for me of how one of our rules doesn't fit what this man's needs were, and that there was a mechanism or a tool that we could use to get him what he needed. But I had to fight for it every year, every single year. People were looking at it and saying, no, that's too much, we can't do that. And I said, yes, we can do that, we need to do that. But I had to advocate for this family every single year that exception to rule came up. So that was my first introduction to, in our state, we have some gaps in terms of supporting people with brain injuries, and it got my blood going. So ever since then, I have been wanting to advocate for people and their families and caregiving staff that are interested in supporting people with brain injuries. So when you, I'm going to step back a minute. When you look at the whole overall umbrella of state services, we tend to fall under the umbrella of DSHS. You've probably all heard of DSHS, right? Everybody talks about us as DSHS. Well, DSHS is a lot of different things. So in my program, I'm under Aging and Long-Term Support Administration. That's the big administration that oversees all of our long-term supports and services. And then within that smaller umbrella, there's Home and Community Services. And that's the entity of the state government that supports our clients in various settings. And I'll talk about those in just a minute. So Home and Community Services is basically our case managers and nurses and management staff that help support aging people as they get older and they need personal care services, or adults with disabilities. Those people that are eligible for our services have to have functional needs, functional eligibility. So it means you need to have, you need assistance with your personal care, your activities of daily living. You need help getting dressed, you might need help bathing, you might need help getting out of a chair or going to bed. Those are the kinds of activities of daily living that we assess for and determine needs for. And you also have to be financially eligible. These are Medicaid services. We are under the Medicaid umbrella, and so you have to be financially eligible, and a person would apply for our services either online, or if you call one of our local offices, we'll send an application packet to you in the mail if you like paper. People can assist with the application process if you're in a hospital setting or a nursing home setting or assisted living facility setting. So there are various avenues to get through our front door. But also within our agency, we also have adult protective services. So if a caregiver or a family member or a person on the street believes that there's some amount of abuse or exploitation or neglect for an adult, they can access adult protective services, and they go out and do investigations and try to identify if there really is abuse or neglect, and then what the issues are there. So those are the services kind of under Aging and Long-Term Support Administration, Home and Community Services. So if someone applies for our services, they would get case management. When that application hits our front door, it gets split into two. One part of the application goes to the financial worker, and they determine the financial eligibility, and the other part of the application goes to a social worker or a nurse, and that person would contact the applicant and schedule an appointment to go do what we call a care assessment. This assessment process can take 2 to 3 to 4 hours long. It's a long time. Right there, that's a challenge for folks often with brain injuries or cognitive challenges. It's hard to sit through a full assessment. So that's one kind of area where we have some challenges. But that case manager is going to go through the assessment process with the person applying and ask all sorts of questions. Medical questions, psychological, social questions, asking questions about how did you get up this morning? Were you able to get yourself dressed? Do you remember to take your medications? When you take a bath, what kind of help do you need? Those kinds of things. Those are all involved with the assessment process. The case manager, once they do this assessment, they'll talk with the person about, well, where do you want to receive your care? Where do you want to receive the help? Do you live at home in your own setting? Or should we be looking at residential settings? And I'll talk about that in a minute. They also, the care assessment determines how much assistance you need for the personal care that we've identified. Talk more about that. We can also help with adaptive equipment. There's a great table out here. I hope you've all seen it for adaptive equipment. They do amazing work, but part of the assessment process will also be asking people what kind of adaptive equipment or assistive devices they may need to help with their personal care. We also can help coordinate behavioral health or mental health care and support needs if you're not seeing someone already. We can also help coordinate adult day health, where the individual can go to a setting to get therapeutic or nursing care needs, and it's also a little bit of a social kind of environment as well. And then we also have specialized nursing services. So that gives you a little bit of a menu of the kinds of things that our office can help with. When a person applies for our services, we go to them. So if they're in a skilled nursing facility, we go to that nursing facility and we'll do the assessment. If the person is in an enhanced services facility, or ESF, that's one of our newest license types. It's a facility that's usually 16 beds, designed for people with significant behavior challenges. We go to that enhanced services facility. Same with the assisted living. If a person's in the assisted living facility, we go there to do the assessment. Same with adult family homes. Ryan will be talking more about assisted living facilities and adult family homes. And we also have people that live in their very own homes or apartments, and if they need help there, we go there and get that assessment done. With that overview of services that we offer, we also have challenges within our system, and because of the work I've done, I've identified what some of those challenges are. About 2.5 years ago, I was asked to help bring back 11 individuals with brain injuries that were receiving care in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Brookhaven Neurological Institute. And the Healthcare Authority of Washington was looking at these individuals' care needs and seeing that there weren't adequate services here in Washington State. So we were sending people out of state to get the care they needed. But there wasn't anybody assigned to bring them back. And so my administration asked me if I would do that. And I said, yeah, yes, I absolutely will do that. And it took about 2 years to go and assess people and identify people like Ryan who have identified themselves as people willing and able to serve people with significant behavior challenges and neurological issues because of their brain injuries. So Washington State doesn't have a TBI waiver. Some do. Some